Starting with the great name of Almighty Allah, who is the most gracious and most beneficent, today we are going to learn about classification of surveys. So what are the classification of surveys? So there are various classifications such as based on the nature of field of survey, based on the object of survey and method employed in the survey and the instrument used in the survey. So this is somehow will give you the brief knowledge about the overall the subject, that is the surveying. When we will end this presentation, you will be knowing the various methods of surveying and the all the possible classifications. So starting with the classification based upon the nature of field of survey. So the first is the land surveying, second is the marine or navigation survey, third is the astronomical surveying. Land surveying. So it is the science of determining the three-dimensional position of points and distance and angles between them. A land surveying professional is called a land surveyor. Next is marine or navigation surveying. So marine surveying is the practice of inspecting marine equipments, means checking of the marine equipments, primarily boats and cargo, to determine the safety and market value. Okay, so this is what is related to the marine and or navigation. So next is the astronomical surveys. Astronomical survey is a journal map or image of a region of a sky which lacks a specific observational targets. Alternatively, an astronomical survey may comprises a set of images, spectra, or other observation of objects that share a common type or a feature. Okay, now coming towards the further classification of the land surveying. Land surveying is subdivided into these classification. Number one is the topography survey. So it is used for determining the natural features of a country such as hills, valleys, lakes, woods, etc. And also the artificial features such as roads, railways, canals, buildings, towns, villages, etc. Second classification of the land survey is the cadastral survey. It is used or in which the additional details such as boundaries of fields, houses, and other properties, pathways are determined. Next is city survey. For laying out plots and construction streets, water supply systems and sewers. So for the laying out of the plots and constructing streets, water supply systems and sewers, the city survey is carried out. Engineering survey. For determining the quantities and for collecting data for the designing of engineering work such as roads, railways, reservoirs, or work in the connection with water supply and sewerage. So the engineering surveys is conducted for these purposes. So engineering survey is further subclassified or divided into the surveys. Those are reconnaissance survey, preliminary survey, and location survey. Reconnaissance survey is used for determining the feasibility and rough cost of the scheme. Then the preliminary survey is conducted for collecting more precise data to choose the best location for the work and to estimate the exact quantities and costs. After that, location survey is carried out for setting out the work on the ground. Next classification is based on the object of survey. The first is the archaeology survey. It is done for unearthing relics for antiquity. Next is the geological survey for determining different strata in the earth crust. Stratas means different layers of the earth. Next is the mine survey It's done for exploring the mineral wealth such as gold, coal, etc. Military survey for determining the points of the strategic importance, both offensive and defensive. And further, I have included the figures that you can see in the slides, which shows the various pictures of these surveys that are being conducted. Classification based upon the methods employed in the surveys. So there are the various methods that are being conducted in the surveys, and the classification are given under below. Those are triangular surveys, another is a traversing survey. Triangular surveying. In this method, control points are established through a network of triangles. Okay, so surveying is conducted by the help of triangles. Next is the traversing. In this scheme of establishing control points consists of a series of connected points established through linear and angular measurements. If the last line meets the starting point, it is called the closed traverse. If it does not meet, it is called the open traverse. Now coming towards the classification based upon the instrument employed. The first classification is the chain surveying. Chain surveying is the simplest method of surveying in which linear measurements are directly taken in the field. Okay, so only linear measurements are taken, not angular measurements. This type of surveying is used over small and leveled areas, means where the land is mostly the flat surfaces with a little somehow undulations, but not so much of the obstructions. Next is the plane table surveying. In plane table surveying, field work and plotting is done using a graphical method. It is mostly adopted for the small and medium scale mapping where the great accuracy is not required. So plane table surveying is a surveying which is conducted in the places where there is not a dense forest or such area where the visibly the things are not clear. So if the features like trees and these things will be so dense, then it will be difficult for drawing the map. Third is the compass surveying. In this surveying, a compass is used to determine the direction of lines, and length of the lines of survey are measured by chain or tape. Okay, so compass measures the direction of the line, whereas the length of the lines are measured by the help of the chain or tape. Next is the tachyometry surveying. A tachyometry surveying is a method of surveying in which horizontal and vertical distances of relative points are determined without using sophisticated instruments such as tape or chain. So in this, distances are measured. Both horizontal and vertical distances can be measured of the various relative points. Next is the theodolite surveying. A theodolite surveying is used to measure horizontal and vertical angles. So that's what you can see the difference between tachyometry surveying and theodolite surveying. Tachyometry surveying measures the horizontal and vertical distance of the relative points, whereas if we talk about the theodolite surveying, it is used to measure the horizontal and vertical angles. Next is the photographic and aerial surveying. This type of surveyings are done by taking photographs from the elevated ground stations. Okay, so if we want to see the features and different land features such as the trees or the main points, then we can even use the pictures by taking the photographs from an elevated ground station. So these are the classifications of surveying. So thank you for listening, and please subscribe my YouTube channel.